What is the very original Star Wars movie? Easy question, but the answer is a bit complicated. Star Wars is easily one of the most iconic movie franchises ever made. A total cult classic, the films have been relevant for almost half a century. The films combined elements of space and extraterrestrial organisms with a human storyline, making it one of the first to do so. They intrigued the viewers with the unusual plot and the everlasting visuals. Many sci-fi geeks, like me, must have watched the original adaptation of the movies in the series, right? That's where you're mistaken. Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to discuss all the changes made in Star Wars Episode 4 in comparison to the original, and why these changes were made. So, let's get started. The first installment of the franchise released in 1977, but already re-released in 1981, and had many noticeable changes in it, most notably the layout of the title. The subtitle, Episode 4 A New Hope, was added, which wasn't present in the previous film. This subtitle has since then remained stagnant, and was the first hint to how George Lucas planned to expand the Star Wars saga. I think in 1977, when nobody knew Star Wars, it would have been confusing to release a movie called Episode 4 when there was no Episode 1, 2, and 3. But this was not the only re-release. The movie was released a total of 6 times, in 1977, 1981, 1985, 1997, 2004, and 2011. Most of the changes made were minor and consistent with the storyline. An example of this would be added CGI effects and better visual aids in many of the landscape scenes. An important change was noted in 2011. This was a change in Ben Kenobi's call. In the versions before 2011, his call was more low-pitched and mellow, but in the 2011 version, his call was much louder and resembled the roar of a large animal. Another change specific to the 2011 version was added CGI shots of creatures that weren't present in the versions prior to this. In the previous film, standing statues of space creatures were used, but with the advancements of technology, a kind of lifelike CGI was used in the 2011 adaptation of the films, which can be seen here. Funny thing is that, in my opinion, the older versions look much better if I watch them today in 2020. The CGI in 2011 was just not on the same level as it is today, and maybe they did not put that much effort into it because it was only a DVD re-release and not a new movie. From current perspective, the animations just look unreal, whereas the manual effects and costumes from 1977 still look great. Just look at these added shots from Mos Eisley Spaceport. They were completely unnecessary for the plot, 100% CGI generated, and just look out of place. A change in characters was noticed with Wolfman being replaced by a pipe-smoking creature, which you can see in these shots. Maybe they just thought that a Wolfman is not your typical space creature. A change in the script was also seen in the Han Greedo shooting scene. In the original film, Han fires first, but in the 2004 and 2011 adaptations, Greedo shoots at Han first with Han firing back in retaliation. I don't quite understand this change because it's a bit unrealistic that a headhunter like Greedo can't hit a target that is exactly in front of him. Coming to the Jabba the Hutt scene, viewers of the original 1977 version wouldn't recall this scene as it had been entirely cut out due to post-production constraints. However, it was present in the special edition release in 1997 with a CGI insert. The 2011 model updated the scene to make it look more natural. It's an improvement, but not exactly the quality that you see in movie theaters nowadays. But what to think of all these changes? Of course, there are no big changes in the plot, but it was a surprise for me to learn that I never watched the real original Star Wars. On TV, they usually show the latest versions, and therefore it is quite possible that many people feel the same way. But I think that the comparison of the versions says much more about the way movies are made than about Star Wars. It has shown that classic practical effects can look good for over half a century, while CGI can look inappropriate and out of place after several years. Ironically, excessive use of CGI has also harmed the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Here, nearly everything was, and because technology wasn't advanced enough, a lot of things don't look good if you rewatch it today. Even though the new Star Wars movies by Disney were rightly criticized, we have to credit them for going back to the roots with the effects and focusing more on practical effects. This can be a positive example for a lot of other movie creators out there. With this, we've reached the end of another video. If you want to see more videos like this, I can recommend you our video about the famous Star Wars crawl. I'll be back soon with another video.